arrow? Here. Is the arrow?
Yeah. You
Yeah, I'm about to sweat. Okay. About to get shiny.
Yeah, I got it on. No one slow. Maybe it was going in and through.
Could be.
But I just turned it up. And then I turned the fan up. You feel the fan more?
Yes. All right, we are here on this Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It with Xavia Fox. And we are going to have a great conversation today. I am back in familiar company. I think I kind of started out with you back in Blog Talk days, right?
Yes, we
Yeah,
started
we
out
started
together.
out a long time ago. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was 14 years.
Good Lord. I must have been 12 at the time.
Yeah, I was 11.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, y'all. So, you know, I love conversations, and we're about to have a great one. First, we're here with Okera Hollis today. After Okera will be Khalid Scott, and after Khalid will be Gina Lamar Raw. So stay tuned until 3:30. We're going to be around here till 3:30 having great conversations with different people. Let's talk about it with Xavia Fox. So welcome to the new show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
I was really happy, you know, condolences to Inyatu. He had a death in the family. But I was really happy when he replaced himself with you.
You know, I was actually kind of honored when he called me because, you know, Inyatu, he's really good at this. So the fact that he thought that I could fill his shoes was an honor in itself. So, and then it's always nice being with you. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it seems like you're the go-to person because Khalid was like, I want to bring Okera on for when we did the panel last time.
Right.
So yeah, you there. So what's our topic today? This is relationships from a man's point of view. So I can't wait to hear some of Okera's points of view.
Today we are talking about, is there a such thing as too much transparency? And should we keep certain things to ourselves or not?
So you know what? I actually was just reading a post about this yesterday. It might have been where you got your thought from. So this lady was saying that, you know, you should not be telling new men that you meet and you're dating and getting to know. You shouldn't be telling them how the last dude was beating your butt and how he used and abused you, because then that just tells the new dude that, you know, you're prone to accept that kind of behavior. Did you read that?
I saw that. Now, that's not actually where I got mine from, but I did see the post. Funny. I saw you liked the post. Yes, I saw that. So I thought that was a very interesting point, and I actually agree with it.
You did? Okay.
I do agree with it, especially in the beginning. I think that in the beginning, it is up to people to kind of give a person the blueprint to how they want to be treated, right? And so if you get up there and you're talking about, hey, you know, this guy used to cheat, you know, I took him back 5-6 times, this guy did this, you know, the first thing he's going to think is, like the person said, is that, okay, those are the parameters in which I can act, you know, and then what you have to kind of consider at that point is the type of person he is. So some guys just do things out of principle.
Right.
So I'm just going to treat everybody good no matter what.
You've always been on that.
I've always been on that.
And I've always told you that that's not how it works.
That's how it should work.
That is how it should work.
That is how there are men who work that way.
Some.
There are some men who work that way. Yes.
I know a few of them.
Yes. But a lot of people allow other people to dictate their actions. Meaning, you know, if she's going to let me disrespect her, then I'll disrespect her. If she won't let me disrespect her, then I'll be respectable.
It's about the boundaries that you set.
Yes.
You know, and I think that if a woman is just going to take everything and anything just to have a man around, I think that that whole energy just carries on. Even if you are a decent, respectable person and she just has no boundaries, there's no limit to what you could do and get away with. I still think that even principled men may find a challenge with her because that doormat everybody walks on.
I agree with that. And I think that the challenge is a lot of times is that if you are in a situation like that and a woman is used to taking things, and we can say this for men as well, when you are doing things the correct way, they actually think that's wrong. Or they actually think that there's something wrong with you. And they're not comfortable with it because it's not something that they're used to.
I've read that, but that just seemed weird to me.
It is the truth.
They just so used to being
They
dogged
are
out.
so used to being dogged out that the person who's not dogging them out must have a problem. Because when you allow people to do that, dog you out, what you're saying to yourself is that that is what you feel like you deserve.
So have you actually met? I mean, because some of this stuff, I hear people on Facebook talk about different stuff, and oftentimes people will be like, that only happens in the world of Facebook, right? So have you actually met an actual woman that you were treating right, and she felt like something was wrong with you? Because I know that's where them simp words come from, and all that kind of stuff. They do. This is what I read, because I've never met a real person that was just like, oh yeah, I did this, and he didn't do that, so he just a punk. I ain't never met a real person, but I don't date women either.
All right.
So you do?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I've actually been in that situation.
Yes?
Yes, I've actually been in the situation.
What's wrong with y'all out there? What's wrong with
And
y'all?
they admitted to me later on that, they were like, okay, he's good. Meaning, when I was doing, I would say something and then my actions would match or whatever. So they thought for the longest, it was just the front.
Oh, they was waiting for the other shoe to drop?
They was just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so I guess maybe it's not, I always think that it's an age group thing because, in our age group, there are a lot of scars from different traumas and all that other kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I see a lot of the young girls saying a lot of that stuff, actually. The late 20s, early 30s and stuff like that. Since they're my younger than my kids, I consider them young.
No, I do too.
Yeah. So I don't think it's just an age group thing. So where are they getting this from? Where did the parents, which we would be the parents,
Yes.
most of your kids real young, or your kid real young.
Right.
But
most of people my age, those are their kids.
Right. So what did we do wrong with these kids that they think they supposed to be mistreated? And that's like the thing. That's the thing.
I think that our generation, we mismanaged our parenthood in the sense that we cared too much about their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
When we were younger, it was, I'm the parent, you're the child. What I say is what it is.
That's it. As long as you're under my roof and I'm paying the bills.
Exactly.
That's the wrap.
Then we wanted our voices to be heard.
I did want my voice
So
to be heard.
What ended up happening is that, okay, now you get to explain as a child, and we, and then everybody got a trophy and all of this entitlement and pampering. Now, and I think that we raised a bunch of entitled, self-absorbed kids, and when you are self-absorbed, it's hard for you to treat others, like give grace to others.
So it would seem then that if they want...
If I only care about myself, then how am I going to care about you? how am I
But
gonna
if
give you
I
the same
don't care
consideration?
about myself, then I can't care about you either, because I'm using you to fill a void. So I'm looking at the young girl who's looking at the guy that's trying to treat her right. So why would she consider that a simp or a punk if he's trying to treat her right? Can we just bring a young person to you in real quick? I often do this to her, so she should be ready. So we hear y'all young girls, come on over here. We hear y'all young girls be, talking about if he, if you get in his face and stuff and he don't smack you, then he must be a punk or a simp. Where does that come from?
Well, I don't know who y'all is. I wouldn't say anything like that. I feel like they grown up in an abusive relationship, so that's what they know. I think I heard you mention something like that. If that's all they know, that's what they expect.
So maybe it ain't us.
Because I know better, so I wouldn't.
You know better.
I wouldn't.
But you've grown up in a nice home in a healthy,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
But a lot of kids
So
now
that's where it comes from.
are brought up single parent homes,
Mm-hmm.
and they watch usually their mom probably go through different relationships with men.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them probably
Could have been
toxic.
abusive. Yeah.
Some of them, and then you have the way they speak about men and vice versa, and men speaking about women. I think that has a lot to do with it. Because like one of the things I've noticed, especially like with women, most women who grow up with a father who is a healthy presence are more confident
Mm-hmm.
than women who do not.
I believe that just with me growing up with a father, there's conversations that you have with your dad, and because he's a man and he speaks from that male perspective and energy,
Mm-hmm.
when he feeds into you is different than when your mom is talking to you as a woman, especially if she's talking to you about men. Because if she's talking to you about men and then you look at the relationship and it's not the greatest relationship, then it's like, okay, well, Mom, I don't know if you really know what you're talking about either.
Right.
But when your dad is telling you about how to interact with men,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably what it is. So it gives you a different level, especially if you have a healthy relationship with your father, because then it allows you to have healthy platonic relationships with other men as well. They're not like this unknown creature.
Right.
I did a show some years ago called Differences, right? Because I wanted to find out if women were really different based on the color of their skin or on the situation they grew up in. And it is more the situation that they grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
If you put a white woman, a Hispanic woman, and a black woman all in the same type of household, we're going to all come out pretty much the same.
Right.
If you put us all, so one of the girls on the panel, she grew up in a household where her father was incarcerated all her life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so she said, she didn't know what she learned about men. She learned in the locker room in school from other teenage girls.
Oh wow.
So now, how is another teenage girl
Gonna
tell you about a man and none of y'all know nothing about men yet? You in high school,
Right.
you know about boys,
Mm-hmm.
and you really don't even know about them. You just know what your interaction is or your experience at that moment with them.
And maybe if you got a brother.
And maybe if you got a brother.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I really value the conversations me and my dad had. And then in high school, my best friend was a guy too, because I felt comfortable talking to the boys even more so than the girls.
Right.
Because I won't go into that. That's a whole different conversation.
Let me ask you a question about in relation to your father. When you talk to men, when you meet men, do you express or talk about the relationship that you have with your father? Do you let them know that?
At some point I do, but I don't right off the bat, because this whole daddy's girl thing is taken in two different ways. Some men don't like daddy's girls because they can't pull as much shit.
Uh-huh.
So they don't like daddy's girls, and they say we more entitled. We think that men's supposed to treat us as well. You are supposed to treat me I'm supposed to treat you a certain way too.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's a two-way thing. So you're not gonna get nothing from me if I'm not gonna get nothing from you. I'm not chasing you. I'm not trying to get anything from you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to know you. And oftentimes, you know, I grew up with it, and I was a daddy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't often talk about that right up front. But down the road, I'll start talking because I can't help it. When you start talking about, you know, your life experiences and what you've done and all that stuff, you can't help but talk about it. Do you like daddy's girls? Because you got one.
I like them.
You got to say that.
No. I like them because confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, I like confidence. I like confidence. I like intelligence. That's some of my personality things that I appreciate the most. Not that I've always dated people with confidence or whatever, but that's what I find most
attractive.
Yeah,
and
because,
as you get older, you learn that stuff.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of times when a person isn't confident, there's more of a headache that comes with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So it's
that jealous and possessive
yes,
thing
it's
comes with
unpeaceful.
that. Yes.
Confidence is a way to peace. If they got confidence in themselves, if they got confidence in who you are, it's a way to achieve peace. And so when you have people who are not as confident, and so now, like, you know, they see you talking to somebody, or you going somewhere, they wonder what's going on there, and it may not be, you know, anything going on or whatever. Mm-hmm. So like I appreciate that.
But part of that transparency and lack of transparency is withholding some information, because it allows you to get a clearer view of who that person is. Because ultimately, I want to learn who you are naturally.
Right.
I don't want to tell you, oh, this is who I want, this is the kind of man I want, this kind of relationship I want. I'm not going to tell you none of that stuff. And one of my exes is the one that told me, don't give them the blueprint.
I used to say the same thing.
Don't give them the blueprint. So what you looking for in a man? I don't know.
You know,
show me.
That's what I've always told my cousins that. The only thing I used to tell them is, you know, when asked the question, just talk about things that, like, respect, on the lines of respect, but never give. Because, like, if you tell somebody, I got this friend, he would always say he loved gold diggers, right? Okay. And everybody's like, well, why, right? Sounds kind of crazy, right? A lot of people don't like that. He's like, because you know what they want.
Oh, and so you can manipulate the situation.
You can manipulate the situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so, like, as long as you know what somebody wants, you know, because guys will entertain things they don't, quote unquote, respect for sex. So
that is so crazy to me. I just don't know how y'all do that.
Because we compartmentalize.
But why do you want to have sex with a chick that you don't really want?
Because she has booty breasts. I mean, I don't know.
Well, not everybody got it.
I don't know.
We all have some form of that.
Men, I guess, with a lot of, we live in two different worlds. When men, I guess you could say men hunt. So it's like, you know, you go out there and when you're younger, it's not stressed to you the importance of long-term relationships, marriage, or whatever. It's more of a socialization of, you know, get as many women as you can. That's kind of like the sign of, you know, superiority, you know, as far as males are concerned. You know, it's like when you're a kid, you go to the playground and you figure out who's the alpha male, who's the best at sports, who's the best at this. Mm-hmm. Then that still is a theme in life with men. Like, can you imagine type of thing, right? But then girls get introduced. Uh-huh. And so now that becomes part of the equation where, okay, who get the most girls? Show me a millionaire who can't get any women, and I'll show you a millionaire other men don't respect. Okay. You know, and so then, you know, after doing that, then it becomes money, because now money is an avenue to get women.
And it's so weird because while you guys are encouraged to get as many women as possible, women are encouraged to not have that many men. So you're like that desired off limits person. So
Right.
all the men want you, but can't nobody have you until that one idiot that you let in comes along. And he's probably an idiot.
And that's the status. And then you become his status. Then you become his status. Then you become his achievement. Because now he got something no other guy could get.
But then how is he able to appreciate it when it's still sex? She still got tits and ass.
Okay.
It's still sex. It's just that nobody else has been with her.
It's
Now
the-
you with her, but it's still
it's
in
the-
your mind. Is it still sex?
It's still sex, but it's the psychological effect. So one of the things most people remember how somebody makes them feel, right? Okay, so this is the thing I think some people run into. So if you have a woman who is extremely attractive, let's say she's attractive, let's say, not a lot of people are able to get her, right? Just being that person who did is gonna make you feel a certain way. Just walking around with her, other men are going to look at you and be like, "Oh wow, he got her."
It raises his market value.
It raises so it's like, there's a saying, I kind of think it has a lot of validity to it. It says, everything men do is for women in the respect of other men. And so I think there's some validity in that.
Okay.
And so, the woman, the respect comes from other men when you see somebody who has a nice woman or whatever. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, I've heard that even. So I had a guy friend some years ago, and he used to like to. We would just go out and just hang out, because in my younger years I was kind of cute back then and stuff, right? And so he would.
Still cute.
Okay, thank you. So we would just go hang out, and he said he liked to go hang out. He said because when he walked in the room by himself, it's nothing.
Right.
When he walk in the room with me, everybody look. The men are looking, but the women are looking too, because now they want to know what he got that got me with him.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next time he go in the room, if he by himself, the women that have seen him before with me, now they got their chance to go over there and get the 411. And he ain't shit.
That's funny. That is funny.
But he was fun to hang out with as a friend.
Right.
But to date, I wouldn't advise nobody to be serious with him.
But you was, complicit.
Because it was free drinks and a good time.
Gotcha.
It was about what I was,
So
hang out in Chicago.
what about secrets?
Mhm.
What sort of secrets should you not tell as far as your transparency is concerned? So for instance, let's say a guy, 40 years old, when he was in college, he had a sexual experience with a man. Should he keep that secret or should he tell somebody?
So here's what I know about life. There's all different kind of people. You should keep that a secret until you find out whether this is a person you're talking to that is accepting of that. Because there are women who really don't care because they are fluid as well.
Right.
And they live that lifestyle.
Right.
So that's part of a lifestyle which is pretty prevalent here in Chicago, as quiet as it's kept. Okay. So if you in that lifestyle, then they can talk about all that kind of stuff because that probably gives him more value to her, because they can do stuff.
Right.
But now if you meet the church girl, she might not be a match for you anyway. So like if that is your reality, the person that you cannot tell that to is probably not a good match for you anyway. So if you find out that that's not somebody that would be accepting of that, so somebody like me who's open-minded, but I really ain't trying to get with no dude that was with a dude. I don't know. I just feel like he gonna always want something I can't give him.
I think, look, any guy, any guy that's had that experience, you take that to the grave.
Certain circles is good.
I don't even look. The only thing I think really needs to be admitted to is things that somehow affects you to this day, or things that you may still be participating in.
So if you meet a woman and she, tells you, yeah, in my college years, I was trying to find myself and this and that and the other. And so, there was a lot of parties and, men and women, and it's just all a blur at this point. Is that going to affect the way that you see her?
Because like, let's just say in the party, she's like, it might have been 15, 20 people who ran through me or something. Let's just say it was something like that.
In
right?
one night?
In one night. Like,
God dang.
I've heard stories like that.
15 or 20 people in one night?
Yeah, I've heard stories like that. There was a story floating around the internet about that. A girl went to Atlanta or something like that, one of those freak things in Atlanta, whatever, and like.
That's a lot of people in one night.
Yeah, but it was one of those parties, right?
Like, I'm thinking that's maybe the lifetime, 15 or 20 people. But okay, I'm older, so.
These young folks got 15, 20 in a year. More. But
Ooh-wee.
so
Okay.
let's just say it's something like that, right? If I was told a story like that, one thing would matter is how far removed we are from college.
Right.
Right. That would be so, like, if I was told the story at 24, 25, my view of it would be totally different from me right now.
Right.
Because that's 2 years ago.
If she's 50 and she's saying in my college
Right.
days.
That's a different thing. Like, if you don't have a disease to get me from that and you're not still participating in that type of thing, then it wouldn't affect me. Because I think that, like, most people, myself included, we've had like whole moments, or where you've participated in something,
and finding yourself in what works for you.
Right. So if it was something like that, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
So the number of men that a woman has been with is not necessarily important to you unless it's like something recent that's gonna.
I will say this. I can't say that though. I can't say that. I think that, like, let's just say that somebody was like, they've had sex with hundreds of people.
Hundreds.
Yes, there are people.
You keep getting worse and worse.
There's people I know people who've had sex with hundreds of people.
Hundreds?
Yes, I know women who've had sex with hundreds of people.
Hundreds.
All right. Yes.
That's
So
a lot of people.
let's say somebody come to you and they, you haven't, and they disclose that. One of the things that I would look at is, how did you acquire the number? Because let's just say over these years, you've been having boyfriends, you've had husbands, you was cheating on somebody. You was doing
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because
You're not,
hundreds is a lot of people.
Right. So, so that would affect, and then, I know a lot of people feel funny about this, but
Because even if you do one a week, that's still only 52.
yeah. So, but a lot of people feel this way. I've never seen anything of value given away easily.
Giving away what?
Easily. Anything of value given away easily.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't give away stuff of value easily.
Right.
But I know that there's women who disconnect from the body. It's just like a
But the
thing.
disconnection, but I mean,
What if a woman told you that she stalked a man, or that she's cut his tires and busted out his windows and stuff like that?
Oh, I wouldn't. You couldn't date.
But what if it was 10 years
I
ago?
don't care.
Oh, you don't care?
I don't care.
So she can have sex with 15 or 20 men in one night, but if she busted a window, that's a deal breaker.
Yes. Yes. Shoot. That's good.
Okay.
You can't be. Yes.
That's too funny.
That costs money. not only that, because as a stalkers are the hardest thing to get rid of.
I know I've had 3 of them, so I do know that.
You know, so if somebody's stalking you, like, you know, especially with the laws and all of that, with social media, the things that they can, if somebody just really decided, I'm going to make your life miserable, they can really do it.
They really can.
You know, it doesn't matter. They could, you know, put rumors, lies about you on social media. They can, you know, call the police and say you dealing drugs out your house. You know what I mean?
And they gonna come look.
Yeah, and they gonna come look.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can. It's a lot of things that people who are stalking can do to make your life miserable. If somebody told me, yeah, I used to be a stalker, I stalked this person, yes, I would find the gentlest way to separate myself from them.
You better change all your personal information.
Yeah, because I mean,
you
know, they could be calling you. They could, you know, it's so many things that somebody who's stalking you can do. So if somebody told me they had a history of stalking, I'm good.
So what are the things that you want a woman to be transparent about? What are the things that you really feel like you need to know? Y'all on the first date, y'all having small talk, you know, where you grow up, did you have both your parents, you know, the whole thing. But what is it that you really want a woman to tell you the truth about?
I would say if she's having sex with someone present. Yes.
Really?
Like if she's having sex with, because there's certain things. So I pretty much want people to answer my direct questions. So if I ask you a direct question.
But if I'm not having sex with you at the moment, then I may not feel you have a need to know what I'm doing in my personal life like that.
I thought,
especially on the first date.
I thought the question was,
yes,
it is.
What
do I want them?
I'm just saying.
Right. I mean, whether or not they want to answer it is up to them. But on the first date, I mean, if the subject comes up and I'm like, "Are you single?" and she says, "Yes, I'm single." I'm like, "Are you single? Single? Like, are you single? Like, or do you have somebody who comes and knock it off?" You know. I think that is a legitimate question. And if somebody asked me the question, I would answer honestly. But I would want to know that. I mean,
and so
whether
if she had somebody that's coming to knock it off,
just to be clear, I'm not saying that I would ask that question on the first date. But if I did ask, I would want to know.
And so if she got somebody knocking it off when she needs to get a little tune up. Mm-hmm. Then what? And she tells you the truth about it, then what?
Then I would be like, well, if things progress, like what happens to him?
Now, you know, in those situations, there's already the understanding if either one of us meet somebody that we really want to then if that goes away.
I come from the school of you make people lie to you or tell you the truth. I don't assume anything.
No, but that's the understanding when you have
that's the understanding
benefits or whatever.
That may be the understanding between them.
Yes.
I need to know
what the understanding
if they have that understanding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my business.
Man.
If me and her start having sex, that is my business. So I want to know. I don't leave anything to my assumption. I ask very specific questions.
So when somebody asks you if you're single, then that's what that means. Are you?
Yes, at least yes. If you're single, like, you know, people say they're single, but they're involved with somebody, or or they having sex with like somebody who's married or something. So, you know, they ain't counting that. Because, you know, a lot of women, y'all don't count all the penises that go in.
They count.
But y'all don't, they ain't on the official report. They ain't on the official report. You know, it's in your head. You know, you remember the feeling, but not that
he don't count because he married, so he don't count, right?
You know,
yeah. I don't know nothing about that. So I do not subscribe to complete transparency up front. Mm-hmm. I just want to get to know you up front. You know, we can ask each other some kind of surface level questions, get an
Right.
understanding of who we are. I really just want to see what your conversation is like,
Mhm.
and look at you and make sure you somebody I could look at for, months or years to come and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. And then I feel like after we've determined by date 3, so if you get to the second date, then
Right.
that means the first date was good. I feel like I can look at you for
Mhm.
some months or maybe some years or whatever. And
Right.
so then the second date is when you can kind of get into a little bit more stuff.
Mhm.
But I just feel like that whole sex question, that can't come till like the third.
Third,
It
right.
needs to come when we in a setting, because like the third date, I will usually, if we vibing like that, I'll usually offer to cook so you can come over. And I
Right.
can cook because I like to cook.
Right.
And I do my little thing, and so you can get my energy and vibe and see if you fit. I see if you're comfortable, whatever. Maybe then, if you ask me if I'm single, or is there somebody on the side, then I might be willing to answer that question because then I figure that you might get some.
Right.
But until you are in the position where I think you might get some, then it don't matter what else I'm doing. That's my business.
And that's fair. That's fair. Because I actually used the first date just to see if we can get along, just to see if we can have a good time, right? I think, I don't usually ask a lot of serious questions on the first date unless, somehow the topic comes up through conversation and it's just, it's a matter of the topic or whatever. I usually just use it to see if I can get along with this person. And also to gauge, okay, how long do I think I could get along with this person? And then, but the other thing I do that you don't do is I talk on the phone.
I'm busy.
So I talk on the phone. I try to talk on the phone with a person a couple of times before I go on the first date. So a lot of times, by the time I get to the first date, we've already had a lot of.
I try and talk on the phone
get
once.
get to know you, conversations and scenarios or whatever. So by the time we get to the first date, now I'm just really seeing, if I can enjoy their presence because I've already figured out what our conversation is like,
there's this really great thing now where you can do those voice texts. Because my thing with the phone, especially at this point in my life, I got so much going on. I just don't really have the time to sit on the phone. I'm in meetings throughout the day all the time. I'm doing a whole lot of stuff that I really need to focus on.
Do you drive?
I do drive.
That's when I do most of my talking.
And I do the phone when I drive, but it's usually business conversations. It's those people that I was supposed to call back. I haven't had a chance to call back yet. They done left a message, and I need to follow up because something else needs to happen.
Right.
So that, and then after doing all of that, I just don't really have it in me to just be on the phone. Because I don't really like being on the phone. I just want to chill and listen to my music and drive and let my brain go wherever it goes. I am more that person. Let's text and set up a time to meet. Because then if I can get you on my calendar for an hour or two or whatever, now we can have all the conversation you want to have. And we face to face, and this is not cutting into any other time because it's already scheduled.
Right.
So that's just, and that could be why I'm single right now. Because I just really, and so here's the other part. I'm enjoying my life so much until I'm not willing to change it for nobody yet. I haven't met that person that makes me want to change that. I ain't met nobody that I would want to sit on the phone and talk to instead of listening to my music.
Right.
So maybe when that dude show up, then maybe I will. But until then.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, that's that's fair. If you got a lot of stuff to do and you don't have time to really talk on the phone, then, we all have to do what we need to do in order to
I try and get one conversation in before we go on a date.
You try to get one in?
Everybody be wanting to get on the phone, man. And then people just want to talk and talk. I'm like, let's meet somewhere and talk.
But, I think the thing about the phone, and what I like about it is usually you are in a comfortable state and it's not the pressure of like somebody like looking at you in your face, because a lot of times I think that you can have a better conversation on the phone than you can in person, because people are a little bit sometimes they're shy in person, somebody's looking at you or whatever, and I know if you like a lot of times when I'm talking across the table from somebody, and they look good. You get to looking at their lips.
But that's what I like about it. So I think you know my story. I've been catfished before. So, and I spent time talking on the phone with that person. And when they showed
I
up,
did not know this.
yes,
You got cat.
yes, big time catfish. It was years ago now, but the scars of being catfish don't really go away.
Was it in the last 14 years?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think.
Yeah, this dude. I was on, what was I on back then? Black People Meet or something like that. Met this guy. His pictures looked real good. He was tall with the curly hair. He was just fine, And then we talked on the phone. I remember laying on the couch talking to him and stuff, And then he drove up from, where did he live? Somewhere in the South. I was wondering why he was driving, but anyway, he drove up and stuff, and we was meeting. So I lived in a suburb back then, and so on the other side of the street behind me was like a main, and it was hotels and stuff over there. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't inviting nobody to my house, to first meet them. But he wasn't far from my house, so if things went well, then he could have came to my house, right? So I'm meeting him at in the hotel lobby, right? And so I'm getting all cute, I got on my little knee-high leather boots and my little black mini skirt, because I was younger then, I was over there. I showed up. I was looking good. I walked in there because he called me. He said, your man is here. I was like, I'm sorry, well, here I come. Here I come. I go over there, and I walk in the hotel, and I'm looking around for this 6'2" tall, curly haired, fine dude, and I walk all the way in. I don't see nobody that look like that. And then I turn around, and there's this little short, round, slightly balding dude standing there with his arms open. So that weekend was a bust. Everything that I thought was going to happen. So now when I'm talking to people, just because you got a picture, and then, so some men will want to go live with you, and then they will just call you. And I hate when they do that. Mm-hmm. Like, don't call me at 3:00 in the morning on some video whatever that thing is called. Right. And I can't stand that. But I guess that's what you almost have to do. But then the lighting be all messed up. And you still don't know why am I spending this time talking to you, and you might not even be who I think you are? You could put somebody else on the phone that day, because that turned out to be his cousin's pictures.
Oh, so he wasn't being
so
transparent about who he was.
Because he told me we were at dinner. I tried not to be rude, because I'm in hospitality, so I could be nice to anybody. Pretty much. So he had drove up there, and I just want to just leave him. But there wasn't anything like the weekend that I had planned. So we were out eating. He's like, I get the feeling that you don't like me. I said, well, you lied. It was never you. It wasn't you. You don't look like that picture. You are not 6'2". I know you know that, right? Like,
so what was his explanation?
So I think the people that do that catfish thing, they already know. So what they want is for you to fall for who the person they are.
Love is blind.
Right. You're supposed to fall for the person that they are, which is all good. But when it comes, so I have a lot of male friends. I love the people that they are, but I can't imagine having sex with them. Right. Right. And so if I love the person that you are, but I'm not attracted to you physically in that way, then we can't go no further. What we gonna do?
I agree.
So so when I don't get on the phone, it's probably from the trauma of having wasted my time with somebody on the phone, and then they turn out to be the total opposite of anything I would ever be attracted to.
It all makes sense now. You got PTSD.
I do. I just can't give you that time, and then I need you to show up. Now you show up and be that dude, and then sometimes they are the person in the picture, but everybody posts their best pictures. Right. So the person that you see show up might be, you can have a dude to take a picture at a wedding, You know, and he in a suit, he looking good, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But that's not his normal thing.
Right.
His normal thing is his baseball cap to the side, and you know, then you
Right.
see all of the tattoos. And I'm not a few tattoos, but this whole new thing they got where the whole body is up.
Right.
That ain't my thing, you know. And then you see all of that stuff, and hell, they might show up with some kind of grill thing in their mouth. You know, you don't never know. Pants could be sagging, gym shoes.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean, because like a lot of times when people take, like you see women, they take pictures and they take them at these angles where it's like, you know, and they're not showing like their whole body or whatever. It's like, you know, it's like,
I had a girlfriend
you
like
know,
that. I told her, you really have got your angles down, because she would take the picture. So she had boobs,
right,
because she was a bigger girl.
right,
But you couldn't really see past her boobs. And
right.
she had a cute face and stuff. She would take that angle, and I would look at her pictures. I'd be like, dang, girl, how do you do that? She said, what are you trying to say? I don't look like my pictures. I'm like, you do? I mean, that is her.
Right.
Not all of her.
Not all of her. Right.
Right. So then when you show up with the rest of the stuff,
people's going to be like, oh, they're going to be disappointed.
So that's some transparency.
It is. It is. I just think the best way is to be as transparent about yourself, as far as like, obviously your look, your personality, and things that, you know, and I think, you know, just like with anything, you're going to get a slow diet of stuff. You're not going to get everybody of the first day. You know, as you start to progress with somebody, you'll just see more and more of their personality. So, you know, more and more of the, you know, who they are as a person. And I just think that, you know, there are some people who will like specifically hide things, you know, until they are in the relationship. You know, I know somebody whose partner, wife, whatever, had, you know, a medical thing until they were married, you know, and so now they're married, and now, you know, he has to deal with this, whatever, right?
That's messed up.
So I've seen, you know, those type of things. I think is wrong to like, okay, wait till a person gets into it deep with you, and then say, okay, now that I know they love me, I'm going to tell them that I have all this going on. Yeah, that's like not fair.
That's not fair.
That's not fair.
And those health issues, because those are expensive issues.
Yes, those are expensive issues.
Those are expensive issues.
Yes, and not only that, it's quality. A lot of times, you know, I've known somebody to hide a disease.
Not a contagious one, I hope.
Yes. Oh. Yes. Know somebody to hide a disease. Know somebody to hide their depression.
Depression can be something.
You know.
You have to deal with somebody else's depression.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so these are all things that are significant when you are married to somebody, and all of a sudden, you know, they can't, you know, they want to have sex, and they can't have sex.
Oh yeah, that's
because you got.
Well, see, that's why you gotta have. So see, I don't believe in waiting until marriage.
No. That was the thing. They were having sex before marriage, but there was never break. And so then they're married now, and they like, hey, I want, and they're like, no, we can't do it. And now you have to disclose that you have this. And so I think that if you have, because like there are certain things that if you're with somebody for a long time, they're finding out regardless. And
then that also takes you to that other discussion, because now that it's way more prevalent where men are becoming women and women are becoming men, and some of those men look better than natural born women. I feel bad for y'all, especially if you get one of them Asian, what they call them, girl boys, sister boys, something, whatever they call them in the Asian community. Because they grow the naturally long hair and stuff. Right. You know, they put on the makeup. I seen this one Asian dude he did it on YouTube. I was like, that don't make no sense.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you, I'll never forget this. I was in my 20s. Yeah, like in my 20s. And we was at this club, and there was this woman in the club. And this woman was thick than a mug. I'm talking, we looking at her, we like, dang, you know, we getting closer, we you know, we moving around the club, we getting closer, and we tripping. And we like, man. And then one of our boys was like, yo, that's a dude.
Ooh.
And we like, what? He's like, yo, don't talk to her. That's a dude. The irony is she actually heard him say it. So she comes over to us.
Oh shit. And she is a dude.
And she is and like soon as she gets
She
close,
gonna beat your
I'm
ass.
like, she is a dude, right? Like she is a dude, right? And so she like, don't listen to him, he whatever. And I was like, nah, that's not true. I've been knowing him since high school, whatever, right? And so I say, well, is he like telling the truth? Like, are you a man? And she was like, you know how they don't want to call themselves that or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, you got a penis? Like, you know, like, okay, well,
That's the term.
you know, right, you know. And she was like, well, yeah. And I said, do men still have sex with you?
I've heard that they
And she said, you know how y'all are. Y'all do anything if y'all think it'll be kept a secret.
I've heard gay men say that.
I was like, what? And so then, probably about an hour or so later, you know, toward the end of the night, she is tongue kissing the dude, probably about 15 feet away from us. And me and my boy turned around and was like, you think he know?
Oh my God.
But yeah.
Oh.
But, you know, that's the type of stuff that you probably should be transparent about.
I think so.
Because you can mess around and I'm sure that there has been violence committed on behalf of that. You know, you can't. It's not fair to make somebody, you know, have a homosexual act,
Right.
and it wasn't, you know, of their free will.
Right.
So.
And even so, there are those that are pre-op, and then there are those that are post-op. So they actually do have a kitty,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't always have it.
Right.
So does that make it different?
And you know, I think no. I think no. And the reason why I think no is because no matter whether you have a kid or not, you won't have babies.
Well, that's true.
And so if you're going to marry somebody,
and you want kids, then that's
and they might want, if they want kids or something, you know, that's something you might want to, you know, because you will have some guy or whatever, or, you know, thinking, or they can't, you know, maybe their sperm is messed up, or, you know. So,
that transparency is some. There's some stuff.
It's some things I think you, especially I think anything that you won't be able to hide forever needs to be told as soon as you can. As soon as you feel comfortable, or at least before somebody is committed to you long term.
Mm-hmm.
I think that anything that, you know, because there are certain things you may think might not come out that come out, and it can be a problem. I think anything that affects your personality, like medical conditions, things like that.
Absolutely.
I think you should definitely be transparent.
For me, and then age. To me, age is
yes,
the thing.
yes.
Because I experience that a lot. Because
Men be lying about the age.
no, they think I'm younger than I am.
Okay.
And then, so just last Monday, we do this event. I do this event now, and it's a football event. I think I've sent you the promo.
Yeah. About to say the Monday night.
So it's a lot of men there, of course.
Right.
And so this guy, he's talking to me and stuff, and he was tall, big, like I like him, right? And so I'm talking to him too, and he's smiling, I'm smiling, and it caught me off guard because I'm actually working, because I do the event with a friend of mine. So at first I'm just talking because that's what I do at events, and then I realized he's flirting with me, right? And so then I kind of chuckled to myself, because I'm running around with a little baseball cap on, a little ponytail, I don't know nobody know nothing. right?
Right.
And so he started talking about kids. I think I asked him because he said something about kids. I said, "How old are your kids?" Right? Because I don't date nobody with young
Right.
kids.
Right.
And he said, "Well, my oldest is 23." He said, "My youngest is 8." I said, "Ooh, 8? What happened there?"
Mhm.
And he told his little story. He said, "Do you have kids?" I said, "Yeah, my kids are both grown now." I said, "My youngest is 32 and my oldest is 40." And he said, "What?" He said, "Your oldest?" He said, "I thought you were about 40." I said, "No, my oldest is 40." He said, I said, "How old are you?" And he said he was 46. And I said, "You a year too young anyway. Plus you got a young kid." But that whole transparency with age.
So what do you have to be 40, 47 is your limit?
So my son-in-law is 46. And I just feel like the dude I'm with should be older than my son-in-law. I just feel like that. Like I definitely can't date nobody younger than my youngest. And she's
Right.
32 now.
Right.
She'll be 33 next month. And then I need him to be older than my son-in-law.
Gotcha.
That's just weird to me. I mean, those are my own parameters and stuff.
Right.
Maybe I'll change it one day. Maybe this real fine 30-year-old that
Tall
and
big.
thick, and I don't know what he would have to be 30 and for me to be interested. He would have had to travel. He needs, because I like conversations.
Right.
I like conversations. I need a conversation, and you can't just be telling me about video games because I'm totally not interested in that at all.
But I mean, you can be 30-year-olds.
That's what I'm talking about.
Life.
How much life they done had. What they did.
Just never know.
They've been grown for 12 whole years.
12 whole years. If you just never know. Like, let's just say he grew up and he was fortunate.
To do what?
To like travel the world at a young age. Like, give you an example, right? Khalid's daughter.
Anaya.
Anaya, right?
She's going to have a hard time.
She's going to have a hard time.
Because not a lot of men are going to be on her level.
Right. But she, so let's just say there is a guy like that.
And she's a beautiful girl. So and she's smart.
Right. And so there's,
gonna be a thing.
There's a guy, whatever, he's like that, whatever, he's traveled, he's gone, different things.
And he's probably 1 in a million. And there's a whole bunch of women.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I'm glad you said that, because that's a very logical way of looking at it. Because there's a lot of women who will think that 1 in a million guy is the guy that they're gonna get.
Right. And see, one of the things that I know about men, just from growing up with my dad and my uncles, and we definitely got to wrap up, from growing up with my dad and my uncles, and my best friend is still a man. I still have a male best friend. And so I'm on the phone with him sometime because we own a business together.
Right.
That's why he get on the phone. But anyway, we be on the phone sometime, and he's a truck driver, right? And so he's all over the place.
Right.
And he's in the gym, and he's into health, just like me. And so wherever he goes, just so that we can have a private conversation, when he sees a woman that he likes, he said, "Ooh, the trees, it's a forest in here." So we call them trees instead of women.
Right.
And everywhere he goes, he's like, "Look at that tree. I would love to climb that tree." What I know is that men find a lot of different women attractive.
Yes.
Versus women, we don't find every man attractive. Y'all like them tall, short, whatever, and everybody got a different idea of what pretty is.
Right.
So y'all find he in all different states, in all different cities. He used to deliver for Walmart, so he was in all these It's women all over the place that he just like, "Oh, she was fine. I saw this one the other day," and women don't do the same. So I know that 1 in a million dude, it's gonna be a lot of women attracted to him. If I'm attracted to him, I know other women are attracted to him, and he gonna have his pick of everything, and he might want to do everything, before he finally settle down with one. And if he's 30, he probably want kids. Yeah. So I'm not gonna be the pick, because I showed him ain't having nothing.
That's funny. But no, that is the truth. Men, we find a lot of different things attractive.
Mm-hmm. And women tend to have a type.
And I hate this, almost to the point where it's not that big of a compliment to women to really, say, you're attractive. There's 15, 20 women in there that,
Right.
if a guy says like he wants to have sex with you or you're sexy or something like that, that's not that big of a.
That is not a compliment
That's
at all.
not a compliment at all.
That's not.
Because
You wanna have sex with me.
I remember
You gonna stand in line or what?
I remember we was in high school. We used to have, somebody was talking about a girl, and they'll say, how she look? Oh, she looks straight, Well, like, what about, is she this, she that? Nah. Well, she good enough to have sex with? But we would use F,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then they'd be like, yeah. And then everybody say, well, that's not really saying much.
Because all you got, so, and we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna tell this
Okay.
story quick. So when I lived in New York, when I was married, I lived in New York. And so for our, was it our second anniversary? I always wanted, that was when New York had 42nd Street, where it was all of the sex stores and live sex and strip clubs. I was fascinated by that, right? Because I'm a pretty sexual being, but you followed me long enough, you already know that. So for our second anniversary, I wanted to go to 42nd Street. And I got me the cute little outfit. I had the white heels. I was all dressed. I had these blonde braids and my little apple hat and stuff. It was so cute. And so we went to all of these places and stuff. And so we got to this one bookstore. And so this bookstore, it was a bookstore, but you could go through this door and it was a whole lot of different stuff back there, right? And so first we went to the peep show. I didn't really even know what a peep show was, but you pay and then the little thing go up. Right. And it's not a window, it's actually a hole in the wall. I stuck my head in there because I wanted to see what all was going on back there. But there was a lot of stuff going on back there. It was sex happening and, women, everything. The women could come and stick their boobs right in the thing, and it was just, me and my husband were together, and it was just all of that kind of stuff going on. Then there was this other side, and it was like these holes in the wall. I'm like, what is this? What is this?
You talking about the glory holes?
Those were glory holes. So men will stick their penis in a hole if something is going to happen to give them an orgasm. You ain't got to have no face. It ain't got to have nothing. They stick their thing in there. It's a chick, or it might be a dude, on the other side that suck them off. And then they happy and they go right on. They want merry way. All of that stuff happens. Then, and this is just part, we went to this other place. And it was these people that get in this cage. And then you tell them what you want them to do to each other. Now that was a lot of fun. That was pretty interesting. But anyway, let's wrap this up. That's my transparency for today. What's your final words on our transparency topic?
I think that everybody should be as transparent as possible without messing yourself up. But no, everybody's gonna have their secrets. But I just think that, anything that you won't be able to keep forever, you might as well just get it over with before you get somebody locked into you. I think that's only fair.
And I think from the other angle, like if you have some secrets and as you're getting to know this person, you realize that whatever your secret is not something that they would probably be okay with. Like if you last night had 15 or 20 men or women, and now you dating the deacon at the church, don't tell him your secrets. Just leave them alone, because that ain't gonna work anyway.
Exactly.
All right, well, thanks for watching us. Stay tuned for Khaled Scott. And thank you, Okera.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
I had a great time, too. We might have to get you on here a little more regularly. You done showed up twice now, so yeah, we might have to get you on a little more regular so we can have some great conversations. We'll see you in about 30 minutes. Peace.